Hello, my name is Jani. Welcome to my channel. This is a cross stitch channel where we talk about cross stitch and fabrics and flosses and projects, and in some videos like this one I stitch a little bit, and yeah, it's a stitch with me. This time I am working on Mirabilia design. It's a pattern from Nora Corbett from Mirabilia, and it's a very special project for me because I'm doing so many things with this project. It's Princess Elliana, and it's a beautiful design. I had this project from, when originally was released, I was in love of this project. I love the composition and the colors and everything, and I decided that I have to stitch her. And I got the pattern and the flosses, and I dyed this Aida 14 into shades, like to create a background, with the green in the bottom part and some blues and purples as the sky. So I was really excited with that project and all the materials. But then I start to stitch her, and using two flosses of DMC over the 40 count Aida, but I wasn't really feeling the connection with the project, and yeah, I let the project, and yeah, it was not my favorite combo of materials, and yeah, I start stitching in some other projects, and that's it. But then I work on Fairy Flora, where I made a conversion of the skin color, because hashtag representation matters. Because even though I love Mirabilia design and the beautiful patterns that Nora makes, most of the skins are always really light, and yeah, not all magical creatures are white. Some of us have color. So yeah, I decided to make the conversion with Fairy Flora to more a darker skin color, and I also changed the color of her hair. So, and I stitched her in a 38 count fabric with two threads, with one thread, sorry, with one floss, and I really love to work with one floss, because I love the way my crosses look. So I decided, what, I could change the fabric in Elliana, and restart the project using a 38 cotton fabric. So yeah, I dye another piece of fabric, because I like that color with the background. And I was thinking, I will change the color of her face and her hair. And then I was watching Jacob's Flosstube, where he was talking about his project, his line, Dark Crosses, and he showed us a lovely design of Katrina, and it's a design that I love very much because it's very, very dear to me, because it's a really traditional celebration here in Mexico, and here in my state. It's really important. Um, and I started thinking, you know what, I can make Elliana not just with a darker skin, but as Katrina. So I took the original design of her face, and I start, redesigning her face as a Katrina. So the first thing I realized is that I will need to stitch her 1/1 in order to achieve the details in the face. So yeah, I did something that I don't do. I mean, I have more than 30 Mirabilia stitched, and I don't do 1/1. But in this case, I need it because of the detail that I want to be in her face. So because I was, thinking in stitching 1/1, I realized that my fabric, my 38, almost 40 count fabric, the stitching 1/1 would be, challenging. So I decided, you know what, I'm not going to use that fabric. I need something larger, and I had this 32 Lugana, and it's a lovely fabric. You can really tell the color, but it's like a pinkish, green, purplish, beige color, really, really pretty. And I have this fabric in another project, with a sampler from Hands Across the Sea, Harriet Harlan, and I even start the top border. And I said, you know what, I can work 1/1 on Lugana 32. So on a stitch, I frogged all the top border that I already have here, and decided to use for Elliana. And but I was thinking that I was really enjoying the, using just one floss for my crosses. And I said, you know what, there is no cross stitch police. I can stitch with one thread, with one floss, over 2 in Lugana 32. And I love this look, how my crosses look. They are, the coverage of the fabric, it's not 100%, because you can see some parts of the fabric, but yeah, I'm loving this. And after I make the conversion of the face, I stitch her, and many of my stitchy friends, immediately start talking to me. You know what, Yanni, you need to change the rest of the design, to make it Katrina, not just Princess Elliana with a Katrina face. And I was really reluctant to that, because I said, you know what, it's a huge dress, and if I have to change all the design, but then I start to think I just can, change the colors, the color palette of the design, to make it, more Mexican tradition. The black of the dress, and the orange and yellows and pinks, really strong colors, and using the same, design, just changing the colors. So I start picking, for example, orange color, and looking, color families. Here are my pinks. So from the darker one to the lighter one, and some greens, and mainly the blacks, are really the black one with those gray shades, to achieve the the combination that I wanted, purples, yellows, and blue. So I decided, what, I could, change that color. And then I I start to look at the design and had a lot of details, um, like flowers stitched in different shades of colors. So because this design had a lot of colors, a lot of DMC. So I said, you know what, I going to keep these main colors, and instead of looking another shades for the flowers, I'm going to use the same, colors, main colors, and start stitching specialty stitches, which I love to stitch specialty stitches because they look so pretty, and you cover a larger area, and they look really, really good. So I decided, for example, here, I'm using the black as the color that, the main color of all the design, and I'm going to use, the blue, the yellow, pink, orange, and purple in all the design. And instead of stitching with different shades, the flowers and, the floral details, I will use specialty stitches. And I was today watching a video by Michelle Bendy, and she was talking that sometimes we are afraid of specialty stitches, but they are not, so special. They are just stitches, and yeah, it's easy. They are easy, and you can follow tutorials on internet and find the pattern of those stitches, and they add such texture, and they look so pretty. So yeah, these are spider web stitches. They look so pretty, and these are Jessica's stitches, and in the center I stitch eyelets. So I count these spaces, that I supposed to stitch, the floral motifs of the original design, and I try to adapt that space to the specialty stitches. In this case, for example, I try to perhaps not stitch all the background in order to keep the space that I need for the specialty stitches. So yeah, I am playing with that possibilities. So here I'm going to use, or I use the purple shades, and I'm going to use oranges here, and in the bottom part, blues. So yeah, and this is the face. I love my Katrina face. I stitch 1/1. You can see the detail. It's a very traditional Katrina face with the dark eye, and the black nose, and in the mouth, and I try to evoke that look. And I love in my Katrina's, this all this ornament and the embellishment in the hair. So I start, adding beads and crystals, and yeah, I I took all my my stash, and try to find, the yellows and the oranges and the pinks that I have, and add it. And I think she looks so pretty. And because I also changed the color of her hair, it was a little plain with all the crystal in the top, so I added a metallic backstitch, with some curly shapes, and I think she looks amazing. And in the back, I try to create like a black veil, because it's also a very traditional aspect of the Katrina costume. So, and I am you know following the shape of the original design, and just making substitution of the colors, and in this case filling with this is cryonic filament in black. So I made the crosses in order to achieve like this transparent fabric, like a veil. So yeah, and I'm really glad, because it gives me the freedom, because I'm not exactly following the pattern. I'm just adding elements as I wish. So yeah, this is my process. I'm changing all the colors, but in this case I put this like collar, ornament in pink, and I added again a back stitch to to be more not so plain. So yeah, and right now I'm stitching this orange part, and this will continue in the front. And I started thinking what specialty stitch using here, but yeah, it's a process that I am enjoying so much, having that freedom and adding the elements that I feel I need and that I want. So yeah, it has been a really enjoyable time with this design, and making this representation of my culture and of my traditions in something that I love so much as Mirabilia design. So yeah, really happy with this project, and also really, really exciting about the new design, Botanical Garden. Again, a design that I'm going to stitch someday. I will order the chart, and yeah, and of course I will make a skin conversion, to give her a little darker skin. But yeah, she's amazing. And I talk about this wish that I had in one of my Mirabilia videos, making the reference with the design by Nora. It's called Santa, where you can see a close-up of Santa Claus. And I said, you know what? It will be great if Nora make another design with this close-up of one of her, mermaids or ladies or fairies, and being able to look at these amazing designs up close. So yeah, and the new in the new design, Botanical Garden, you can actually see the detail of her face. The brows are perfection, and yeah, it's so pretty. So yeah, really, really exciting about that new design. And yeah, uh, I I haven't stitched much on my samplers, but yeah, I'm stitching, and that it's a good thing. So yeah, that's my report, my little stitch with me, more talking about my my creative process and how I personalize my projects. And yeah, it's part of the journey, and part of having fun. And yeah, some stitchers, or perhaps ourselves, sometimes feel the need to follow the 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 chart as it is, and not making any change, and that's okay. And sometimes you really need to change details, or perhaps all the design, in order to make it your own, you know so yeah. That is my report for today, my little stitch with me. I'm really loving the coverage and the look of one floss over Lugana 32. It's, I mean, I love many aspects of this design, but yeah, being able to stitch with one floss over two, it's great. And yeah, I need to order Lugana 32 because yeah, it's not really available here in Mexico. You can get Lugana 25 and sometimes Lugana 28, but yeah, Lugana 32 is not very common, and it's lovely. So yeah, but I have, you know, plenty of projects and you know, the kids to work on, so not biggie. I will try to keep working on my Princess Elliana Catrina, in order to finish her for this Dia de Muertos. So we'll see about that. In the meantime, I will keep enjoying stitching her and playing with these specialty stitches and with all the beads and the crystals and the colors. Yeah, having fun with her and having the freedom to do what I want. So yeah, we'll see. Okay, I will continue stitch a little bit. Take care of yourself, take care of your family, get the vaccine, please, it's important. And I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.